barbershop was nothing special, just a faded sign reading Rick's Cuts, and a red plastic open light flickering in the window, like it hadn't decided whether to give up. Keanu Reeves stood outside, helmet tucked under his arm, eyes squinting against the California sun. His hair had grown shaggy, too shaggy, even by his standards. He liked looking like he just walked out of a jazz bar in 1973. But this was pushing it. He stepped in. A bell above the door chimed. Inside, it smelled like aftershave, linoleum, and old stories. There were 2 chairs. One barber. The man behind the counter looked up from a broom. Mid-40s, buzzed hair, a streak of gray, and forearms like tree trunks. His name tag said Rick. "You lost?" Rick asked, not rudely, just flat. Keanu shook his head, looking for a trim. Rick raised an eyebrow. You look familiar." "People say that," Keanu replied with a smile. Rick nodded slowly. "All right, take a seat. Walk-ins welcome." Keanu sat, glanced around. The walls were covered in faded Polaroids, kids' first cuts, retired regulars, an ancient photo of Rick's dad shaking hands with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Rick tied the cape around Keanu's neck with quiet efficiency. "Just a trim." "Yeah, nothing fancy." Snip. The scissors began their rhythm. Rick didn't talk much at first. Neither did Keanu. It was that rare, comfortable kind of silence, like 2 people working on opposite ends of the same garage. Then Rick broke it. "You ever get tired of people recognizing you?" Keanu shrugged under the cape. "It depends. Some days it feels like connection. Some days like glass between me and the world." Rick nodded like that made sense. "You play tough guys?" "Sometimes. You ever have to be one in real life?" Keanu thought a moment. "Only when I had to protect something quiet." Rick paused. "That's, Snip." The door opened, and a kid came in, maybe 10 years old, dragging a skateboard and a backpack. "Hey, Rick," he called. "Hey, Matty. You late again." Matty grinned, dropped into the other chair. "Dad's shift ran late." Rick nodded, then turned to Keanu. "Sorry. He always comes after school. His mom passed last year. I cut him a break." Keanu glanced at the kid. "Looks like he's earned it." Rick gave the tiniest smile. Outside, the traffic rolled by, uncaring. Inside, a man got a haircut. A boy waited for one. And something real was happening. Rick moved with precision. Snip, trim, comb. His hands steady. His eyes focused. Keanu watched the kid, Matty, rifling through a torn comic book. "What are you reading?" Keanu asked. Matty held it up. "Old Batman." Rick keeps a stack under the chair. "You a fan of Batman?" The kid shrugged. "I like Nightwing better. He has friends." Keanu smiled. "That's a good reason." Rick snorted. "Matty's got opinions on everything. Like an old man in disguise." Matty grinned. "I'm an old man in training." Rick flicked the clippers on. The hum filled the room, settling into a rhythm like soft jazz in a lonely diner. "You run this place alone?" Keanu asked. "Yeah," Rick said, focusing on the neckline. "Used to be my dad's. He passed in 2015. I kept it going." "That's rare." Rick paused. "What's rare?" "People who stay rooted." Rick shrugged. "Some folks run. Some dig in. I got a kid and bills. No room for glamour." Matty piped up. "Rick's not my real dad. He's just Rick." Keanu glanced at Rick, who didn't correct the boy. Just nodded. Matty continued. "But he makes spaghetti when I have nightmares." Keanu's voice softened. "Sounds like family to me." Rick didn't look up, but something in his shoulders eased. "You ever think about quitting?" Keanu asked. "Sure, but this place, it's like a lighthouse. People come in after breakups, job losses, funerals. I sweep up more than hair." "That's heavy." Rick chuckled. "Yeah, but you know the secret." "What?" He turned off the clippers. Sometimes you just give a clean fade, and they walk out feeling like they can take on the world. Keanu nodded. That's more than a haircut. Maddie slid into the chair next. Make me look cool. Rick smirked. You already look cooler than me. Keanu leaned back, watching. The room felt warmer somehow, like a scene you didn't know you needed to be part of until you were in it. As Rick trimmed Maddie's hair, the kid asked suddenly, Hey, Keanu, are you rich? Keanu blinked. I guess so. Why don't you have bodyguards? Keanu smiled. Because sometimes it's good to be around regular people. Rick added, especially when they still have comic books and sticky floors. They all laughed. It was just a barbershop, but it was also a place where a man who'd lost his father gave a boy a sense of home, and a celebrity got to just sit down and listen. Maddie's haircut was quick, tight around the ears, a little length up top, just enough to flick around while skating. You good? Rick asked, checking the mirror. Maddie turned his head, approving. I look faster already. Keanu gave him a thumbs up. 10% speed boost, at least. The bell chimed again. A woman entered, carrying a grocery bag and a weariness that didn't look recent. Hey, Tanya. Rick greeted her. Give me 10. Sure, she said, dropping into the cracked vinyl chair. Take your time. Keanu caught the glance she gave Rick, brief, familiar, quiet. Nothing said. Everything understood. Rick turned back to Keanu. You done? Keanu looked in the mirror. Hair trimmed. Edges neat. Still himself. Maybe even more so. Perfect, he said. Rick peeled the cape away. No charge. Keanu stood. Not happening. Rick folded his arms. You've been in movies. This is a haircut. Keanu handed him a crisp $100 anyway. You've been in life. This is payment. Rick accepted it silently, nodding once. Maddie tugged Keanu's sleeve. You're cool. You're cooler, Keanu said. Maddie considered this. You should come to the skate park sometime. We got a ramp that's kinda death-defying. Keanu grinned. That's my specialty. He turned to go, but paused. To be honest, I didn't come here just for a trim, he said. Rick raised an eyebrow. No, I think I needed to sit in a room with people who don't expect anything from me. Rick shrugged. Then you picked the right dump. I picked the right place, Keanu corrected. As he opened the door, Tanya looked up. You really are him, huh? Keanu stopped. Depends who you mean. She smiled. The guy who listens. He nodded. I try. The bell chimed again as he left. Outside, the sun was lower now, but somehow warmer. Keanu put on his helmet and glanced back once. Rick was already sweeping. Maddie was reading. Tanya waited her turn. Life rolled on inside those worn walls. And Keanu. He drove off without cameras, scripts, or security. Just a man who got a haircut and remembered something true. Later that evening, the sun slipped behind the buildings, casting long shadows over the sidewalk. Inside Rick's Cuts, the lights buzzed softly, and the day was winding down. Rick finished Tanya's trim, and Maddie was now curled up in the waiting chair, asleep with the comic book open on his chest. You ever think he'll remember this place when he's older? Tanya asked, brushing hair from her shoulders. Rick looked at Maddie for a long moment. Yeah, he said. I think this place will remember him, too. She smiled, gathering her things. See you next week. You know it. She exited quietly, the door's bell barely making a sound. Rick sat down in the chair Keanu had occupied earlier. For a moment, he didn't sweep, didn't move, just stared at the empty mirror. He rubbed his jaw, then reached into the tip jar. The $100 bill was still there, folded. Rick pulled it out, considered it, then tucked it into the bottom drawer under a photo of his father and him from when the shop first opened. Maddie stirred. Rick, yeah, bud. You think Keanu will come back? Rick looked at him. If he doesn't, that's okay. We were still part of a story. Matty yawned. Was he really famous? Rick walked over, ruffled his hair. He's the kind of famous that doesn't make a big deal out of it. Matty smiled. I think he's like Batman. Rick laughed. How so? He disappears before you can say thank you. Rick nodded. Yeah, but you never forget what he did. He turned off the lights, scooped up the sleeping boy, and locked the door behind them. Meanwhile, a few blocks away, Keanu sat outside a food truck, sipping hot tea, watching life pass. The city hadn't changed. Still fast, noisy, filled with neon dreams and exhaust fumes. But something felt different inside him. Not big, just a quiet realignment. He pulled a notepad from his pocket, scribbled something down. Sometimes the best roles are the ones no one watches. He underlined it, smiled to himself, then tucked the notepad away. Tomorrow would come. Maybe another movie, another flight. But today, he'd been in a little barbershop, and it had been enough.